Hi everyone. Right now, Australians are being asked to consider a voice to Parliament for the first Australians, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander members of our community. The voice represents the first stage of the Uluru Statement from the Heart, and it's intended to provide recognition for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in the Constitution, but also to start the process to set up a means by which this community can advise government. What defines this ordinance is multifaceted, but it goes a lot to their history, how they've been treated, colonisation, dispossession, the stolen generation, their ongoing lack of equitable access to housing, health and education services, the ongoing impact of intergenerational trauma, and their cultural and linguistic differences. The Australian Institute of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies, known as IATSIS, says there are more than 250 Indigenous languages, including 800 dialects that are specific to certain places. And if you've ever looked at an Australian Indigenous map, you'll note that there's at least 500 groups across the country. How many of us actually know those dialects, or even a few of the words even, and how those 500 groups prefer to be engaged or heard? How do we even understand how to ask or where to start? White Australia or Western backgrounds have not understood our First Nations people. We haven't consulted with them, or we haven't structured our policies or funding to align with the way they think, live or communicate, and we haven't been led by them. I think we've reached the point where the discrimination is so systemic that it's so ingrained that we can't see that it's discriminatory. The reasons for why the process of listening or lack of listening goes to the heart of our lack of understanding, and a lack of listening as a form of communication relevant to this audience as a unique audience. White Australia or Western discourse epistemologically subscribes to the written word versus an Aboriginal oral history or ways of knowing. As Purdy says, traditionally communication was rhetoric, the art of persuasion, but an Aboriginal communication is about elders and storytelling and listening. It's about showing respect and sitting with them to listen in their environment at a time and place that suits them in order to understand, at the very least to begin to understand. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders have not been represented where policy and funding decisions are being made. They haven't been consulted in a manner which reflects their way of communicating or engaging. And White Australian continues not to understand that we have to listen in a different way in order to understand, particularly if we want to support and celebrate one of the oldest living cultures in the world. Thanks for listening.